in anime art, we don't actually draw all of these lines separately to make hair. You can do if you would like, but in artwork, it's too much contrast going on. So to represent all of these hairs, we draw shapes. The hairs come together to form a lock of hair. So for this whole lock of hair here, it can be simplified down to this shape. However, you don't want to go from a thin line to a thick area. A lot of the time this occurs as we get to the end of our hair, it becomes thinner in nature. So instead of this, we want to be thick from the top and then going down to be thinner. However, to make this natural, it needs to be a lot more of a gradual change. And this depends on where you are in your line. So when drawing straight strands and locks of hair, you want to go from a thickened area down into a thin area, even if this is done in a very subtle way. By simplifying down the areas of your hair, it can be a lot easier to further diversify. Let's say, for example, I have area of hair like so, and if you can see, this is a really big area of hair. You can then cut this down into multiple areas and multiple strands. If I were to put holes into this, you can now see it's divided this into one large strand going down here, one small strand combining into that area. You could then combine more holes into this, and it essentially divides up your block of hair into little strands. However, if we add too many holes, it doesn't really look like anything in particular. If we keep it simple like this, you can see that we essentially have one strand going down here, another strand coming down here, and they join back up into the main bundle of hair. So you can essentially get the same effect just by cutting in between your bigger shapes. When you go in to render this could be showing that a strand is coming through here, like so, and overlapping. If you imagine your hair as a ribbon, this helps you to manipulate it into other forms and other shapes. So let's say hair is coming down straight, and then it takes a curve. When it curves, it does not follow an immediate curve such that it comes out looking to be the same thickness. Instead, it will actually come down and essentially turn on its side and become thin, and you will only be able to see the side of the ribbon, and perhaps it won't be completely flat in this area. We can give it a bit more thickness. It might come out to be looking a bit like this, and if we want to make this a bit more realistic, as it comes down, it will become a bit more thin as well. So it will look down into this area, and you get a smoother curve. Anytime where you have a change in direction of the hair, instead of completely turning them into the same thickness like so, you want to vary the thickness each time that the hair makes a change in direction, having all of your hair going down into the same direction with the same shape. As opposed to this, we can go down once and then shift to perhaps a strand that has multiple endings and shorter before going back up. And maybe on the outside here, we're going to go out this way before coming back in. So change the shapes, change the length of your strands, and change the direction. For example, this one just has a lot of variation. We have multiple overlaying strands here, and the downside to drawing like this is that you get lots of separated strands that don't really congeal together. Lots of detail, which is a good thing, but it does detract away from the entire shape of the hair. If you were to compare it over to here, this one's much more easily readable. It doesn't have as much detail in terms of separate strands, but that's okay. If you have too much detail in the strands, it does get overwhelming. It takes a lot of time and there's no clarity in it. Although we aren't illustrating separate strands here, you can see clearly that where the top of the head is because the light is shining onto it. You can see where the front hair here is coming through the front as opposed to the back hair, which is having the light shone upon it. In this example here as well, there is the big separation between your shadow down here as opposed to where your areas of light are. All the light is hitting at the top and on top of the layer of your shadow. So it becomes much easier to render when you have your light sources all sorted out from the beginning. And we can make this all into our shadow. Think about shadow is on the inside, shadow here, 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 and we might have light hitting all the areas on the outside here. If light hitting here, maybe the light is coming through here, so that once you have already defined your light and your dark, zooming out, this already looks very easy to tell the layers of your hair. Everything else comes after in terms of your detail. You would be looking at the areas of occlusion. Areas of occlusion where you get between layers of hair in these little corners. So in this corner here, underneath this layer of hair, and between all these layers of hair. You see between this layer of hair and this, these are the really dark corners. This can be represented by your line art already, but then you can add in a bit more detail. You can take the same concept and apply it to the light areas. If you go from the light, a bit here, and create a little bit of area of shadow and midtones for the light areas. And you essentially block those in. And obviously not very clean using that example, but that is how we kind of get the light and dark values. When we texture, the texture of the hair is essentially a bit of a shiny surface. And so areas in the dark where there is curvature in the shape of the head, you will get these areas of texturing. And in this way, your range of values in your hair here are still going to be darker in total compared to your light areas, so you get a good separation. And so I hope that helps you in rendering your own hair.